Well, welcome to the Headless with Cloudinary Bootcamp course. I'm Marcelo Lewin, Headless Creator, and your host throughout this entire bootcamp. If you have any questions, as always, get a hold of me right there, Marcelo at headlesscreator.com. In this interview with Jon Sneyers, Senior Image Researcher at Cloudinary and a presenter in this bootcamp, you're going to learn all about image formats. So without further ado, let's get Jon in. Jon, welcome to the
Hi.
interview. I'd love to have you here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So where are you located?
I'm in Belgium, close to Brussels.
Oh, nice. Love it. I love all these interviews that I have with people all over the world, especially at Cloudinary. You guys are a company everywhere, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I did a PhD in computer science in University of Leuven on a completely unrelated topic, like it was um, optimizing compilation kind of stuff. But then I got interested in image compression, and I had a kind of a pet project called FLIF, which was the free lossless image format. And at some point, I turned this hobby into my job, and I started working for Cloudinary as an image researcher.
So the image part was more of a hobby, but the computer science part, how did you get in? I mean, what attracted you to computer science? And you went for a PhD. That's a long time to go in school.
Yeah, yeah. I think I started when I was like 9 or so, when I got this Commodore 64
Oh, I remember that.
from one of my from as a family gift. Basically, somebody who did their master's thesis on it and no longer needed it or went on to a more expensive computer, I guess. And then I got this Commodore 64 to play with, and it was basically what started my interest in computer science. Um, yeah, I've been programming for quite a while now. Yeah.
My first computer was the Commodore VIC-20, which I still have. My second computer was the Commodore 64, and I used to do basic programming in there. Did you do basic programming in the Commodore
Yeah,
64?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Right.
It
I
was
bet you
fun.
did some games, I'm sure.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right. We all
And
did.
like even getting these books from the library with the source code that you could then type in, and at the end of
Right.
like 1 or 2 hours of typing, you would have a nice game. It was
Exactly. Oh, I
yeah,
remember buying the magazines. I couldn't wait for the magazine to come and then get the source code, type it in. There was no internet back then.
yeah,
There was no
yeah.
GitHub. You couldn't clone anything.
Different times, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, but it was wonderful times. So now you're an image researcher at Cloudinary. What is that? Tell us exactly. What do you do?
So basically, I do mostly two different things. One is image processing, and this is like trying to come up with different new algorithms to do things like even just downscaling an image. You can do it in many different ways, and it's still a bit of an art to do it in the best possible way. But also like cropping an image automatically to try to find the salient regions and crop those, or other types of image processing algorithms. I try to come up with proofs of concepts for new things that then often turn into Cloudinary features. The other part is image compression, where I'm doing things like investigating the existing image compression algorithms and encoders to see which one is currently best, which one we should use. But I'm also developing new image formats like JPEG XL, which is like basically defining a new format itself and also building encoders and decoders for it, of course. So it it's like a lot of it is trying to invent new ways of doing things in a better way, building of course on top of the shoulder of you're on the shoulder of giants there, where there's a lot of earlier research that you can look at and try to build upon.
What do you love the most about your research? And also on the flip side, do you find most challenging?
Well, I mean, if you manage to build something that turns out to be useful and ends up in production and gets used by a lot of
Hmm.
customers who are happy to use it, this is of course very rewarding because you see that you're doing something useful that people want to use and that makes a difference. And what is challenging is exactly the opposite when you do something and it can sometimes be frustrating to get it into get it adopted. And this is in particular like the case with new image formats like JPEG XL. Trying to get them adopted is not a thing that Cloudinary by itself can do. Of course, you need
Right.
a very broad and wide adoption. You need browsers to support it. You need all kinds of software to support it. And this is a very difficult thing. It has been for every image format. That every new format that has been proposed always took a long time before everybody supported it. But this can sometimes be frustrating because, yeah, sometimes people are being a bit stubborn in adopting new things because you often get like the chicken and egg problem where people want to add
Right.
support once it's widely used, but not when it's still in the early stages because they first want to see that it has proven itself and it's battle tested and it's very popular. But of course, it's never going to get popular if people only start adopting it when it's popular. So this is a yeah, this can be a bit challenging and frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the issue with all standards in general, not just the images itself, right? It's just all standards. People don't like change in general. So what they're used to, they're used to. But now you're going to be doing an entire lesson on image formats. Just give us a little teaser of what is the difference between a production format and a delivery format for those that just want to know a little bit more about that. And you also mentioned authoring, right? You have production, delivery, authoring. Probably production and authoring is probably similar, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah. So in authoring, what you basically want to do is to have high precision and lossless compression or no compression at all in order to be able to avoid generation loss and preserve the image quality. Whereas in delivery, you want to do just the opposite. You want to do lossy compression. You want to minimize the file size in order to save bandwidth, in order to get the image there faster so that the user experience on the web is nice and you don't have to wait many seconds before the image shows up. So it's basically two extremes. In delivery, the main goal is to try to cut down the size as much as possible while still preserving as much as possible an image without any compression artifacts. Um, so it's all about lossy compression, whereas in authoring it's about lossless compression, but also about having features like multiple layers that you can use while editing and high precision so that you can still do color manipulations without risking that you will blow up the artifacts at a certain range of colors.
And in the delivery format, of course, it's a mixture of science but also art, right? Because it's not all about the math. It's also about how does it look to the eye. Because the math may say it's great, but the eye may say it doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's exactly, you need to do perceptual optimization. So it is, well, it's something, it is a bit of a science as well. If
Right.
you
It's a
study the
mixture.
human visual system and how it works, how the eyes actually perceive color, and what are the limitations of the human visual system. And it's basically all about figuring out what the limitations are so that you can throw away information that you don't see without throwing away information that you do see.
Right.
So this is where it's tricky.
Right. Makes sense. Well, Jan, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to the lesson, which is coming up soon. People can go check it out. If people want to get a hold of you, that email that you showed right there is the best place.
Yeah, that works. Or you can also reach me on Twitter.
On Twitter as well. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Jan, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thanks to the rest of you. I hope you enjoyed this interview. I know I did. And remember to go watch all the other interviews and go watch his lesson, which is available in the foundation section of this bootcamp. So, and as always, if you want to get a hold of me, right there, Marcelo at headlesscreator.com. So we'll see you. Cheers.